contrastive stylistic final project, Chagas Disease. There are four key factors when we talk about stylistics. It is the sense of studies, style, methods, and techniques used by authors in their writings. It focuses on the meaning of literary works. Through it, we can distill the essence of a text while focusing on the style, genre, and text type. That way, when we translate, we can reflect those features in the translation. Text type and stylistic features of text 1. La voz de Chagas, la enfermedad de América. This is a newspaper article, journalism genre, persuasive and informative, and simple register. It has a simple register. When checking for stylistic features, we need to make sure that headings are in the right place, that they are bolded, that the format is the same, the order of the information presented is the same in the target language as it appears in the source language. For example, in here we see in the paragraphs en las zonas rurales de países como Ecuador, Bolivia, Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Brazil, we see it bolded in the source text, so the same information should appear bolded in the target text. We need to keep also the font type and the size. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is a newspapers article. Newspapers are characterized because they use a lot of quotes. The information that they are trying to transfer is about people, real people, and current events. So these quotes need also to be respected, and they should appear in the translation as where they appear in the source text. Text 2 stylistic features. La enfermedad de Chagas importada. This is an academic article, scholarly gender. It explains and it arguments, and it has a high register. Academic writings by nature are very organized. They usually have introduction, backup information, research, and conclusion. The paragraphs are usually long. This should be respected in the translation. Academic writing also uses a lot of reference material, so we need to keep that into account and don't omit that information since it is very important in this type of text. In this type of writing, the author wants to make the point across, but they always use a lot of information, the statistical information that can back up all the facts that they're trying to deliver through this article. One other important characteristic of this type of writing is the terminology used. It is usually high register. It is written by professionals for professionals. Translation challenges. Text 1. One challenge was the lack of familiarity with journalistic translation and writing. The second one was finding the right translation method for each part of the text. I had dialogues that needed to be translated, and I needed to sacrifice the type of dialect that the dialect was spoken to in order to make it like an understandable translation into English. Translation challenges. Text 2. High register terms were one of the biggest challenges. I needed to research a lot, and the specialized writing expressions that they use in Spanish, so I needed to be very well informed in order to translate them accurately. For this, what I needed to do was just to research parallel texts and see how these same expressions were expressed in English in order to keep the same meaning and effect in the translation. Translation opportunities. Plenty of reliable resources on the web about this topic. From reliable resources like the World Health Organization, and the Pan American Health Organization. There was also a lot of opportunities to compare different translations, so I was able to choose the more accurate one. There was also opportunities to use different translation strategies in different fragments of each text. I could say that the journalistic text was more hybrid than the academic one. Opportunities to use techniques such as borrowing, like in the case of text 2, where I found the word gold standards, which could be very well used in Spanish without even translating it. Feedback. Syntax and style feedback from Professor Lowe. Advice on not using bedbug for the Vinchunka. Suggestions about style and using parallel text. It's also important. It was also valuable the feedback received by my classmate Ashley, where she makes certain corrections on style and the use of certain words, like it will be vocabulary choices, so the text could sound more natural in English. Conclusions. Working with two different style texts help us visualize what are the contrasts and differences between each style and gender. The exercise also enlightens us or give us knowledge or experience with the differences that exist between two texts that deal with the same topic. It, the analysis of these two different texts provides us with the skill and knowledge to recognize important features that need to be reflected in the translation. This, of course, helps us to place the text in the right context, which will create a better translation at the end. Takeaways. This activity was extremely valuable because it reminds us what is style, what the characteristics of a text are, like a style, which is the use of words, tone, grammar, and creative devices that authors use in their texts. Genre, a category of literary composition where we can find drama, crime, spy. Also, text type. Text type is the category used to characterize the text into a specific specialization. Once we are able to recognize these three features in the text, in the source text, we can produce a translation that's gonna be reflecting exactly those same characteristics, and we will end up with a really good result that the client is gonna be happy about.